Welcome. Hello, everyone. We'll start off with a little bit of Horizon Thunder Sphere. Welcome, everyone, back to another Knights of Last Call live stream. It's a long time coming. I must say this is due to the request of our patrons, of our viewers. We are here with, that's right, all archetypes ranked. This will probably be, I would think, the very last one that we're going to do. I don't see us really ever going into anything more minutia than this. So we'll definitely enjoy this one as we go through this. Yeah, we're not doing all items ranked there, Lolly, for sure. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. Hello, we are the Knights of Last Call. My name is Derek Melinda, and I am the game master for the Knights of Last Call and kind of the main force behind this channel. But I am joined, of course, by Bob and Aaron, who are my co-conspirators in this channel, who help me produce so much. And we are joined, of course, and supported this stream, this channel, due to the wonderful and amazing support from the Knights of Last Call Patreon, whose undying and unwavering support allows us to continue to make these cool videos and have fun and invest in this fun experiment. So yeah, so we're here to talk about archetypes. Welcome. For those of you who are joining, remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content and you want us to check out more of it. If this is something you like, I'm not even kidding you when I say that we have something in the neighborhood of like 150 hours of live streams talking about spells and classes. And then when all said and done with this, it'll probably be like, I don't know, 160 or something, 170. So yeah, we are talking today about archetypes. So I thought before we get into it, I want to really quickly do a couple of things to kind of clear up some ideas, or no, I shouldn't even say ideas, but clear up some, make sure that we're all on the same page. We got a super chat from the self-confessed cynic himself, who you got a chance to see on Tuesday. He played with us in our Leshy game. Welcome, Vin. And says, oh God, here we go. So yeah, a couple of important things I want to get out of the way. For starters, well, actually, I'll say that in a few minutes once more people arrive in. For starters, let me just say about our rankings. So we have a tier ranking here, S, A, B, C, D, F. Here is my thought process and my thinking. A C ranking means this game element works fine. It feels balanced, it feels fair, it works, it does something useful, it kind of does what it says on the tin. It just functions. Now, that is not a slight, it is also not praise, it's simply saying this element exists and it works and you can feel fine using it. Now, given that this is a game and we are doing these for fun, I think personally that C, while functional and totally fine, I think I aspire as a game designer. I think I would aspire as someone who's playing this game to do better than C. I think B and A represent the shades of gray, I will admit, but B and A represents to me the sweet spot of functional design. It means that the game element or game mechanic is not only functional, but it's exciting. It emulates your character's action in the narrative well. It creates interesting gameplay opportunities. It allows the sort of the Venn diagram between the game and the simulation to sort of blur and sort of meld into one another. It creates a very fun experience for both the mechanics of the game, but also the sort of ongoing narrative that you and your group are creating as you play the game. So A's simply do that better than B's, but I feel like A's and B's are both very, very high praise. A lot of times A's get the extra nod just for being that much cooler and that much more functional. S tier. S tier to me, is not necessarily a good thing. S tier is probably too good. S tier abilities or S tier mechanics or S tier classes or S tier spells are, in the context of the game that we were playing together, just too powerful. They probably dominate the conversation. They give you way too much power for what you're investing into them, and maybe even eat up some of the design space that some of the other, characters, classes could otherwise use. Okay? D. A D to me is something you want to avoid. It may have a limited use, a very niche, super niche use, but it is overall, I think, a disappointing mechanic. And F, and this is very important, in Pathfinder 2, F does not mean, they forgot to include something and the mechanic or the spell doesn't actually do anything because of a game rule violation or something like that. It doesn't literally mean that the mechanic does not function. It simply means that this mechanic is so awkward or so specialized that in good consciousness, this shouldn't exist. When we have a game that is full of A's and B's and even C's, this mechanic does not, it just doesn't cut the mustard. And it's just so behind in terms of where the other classes are at. Okay? So that's our first takeaway. Second takeaway, archetypes. We're going to discuss all the archetypes. We're going to discuss multi-class archetypes. We'll actually probably start with multi-class archetypes because they're at the top here. I was going to go in alphabetical order, but that's not the way they're set up on Archives and Ethics. We have the multi-class archetypes, and then we get into the other archetypes. All total, I want to say there's like 100, and I'm sure someone in chat will jump in here. There's like 120 or 130 archetypes, and it's a lot. But we're going to treat these more like spells, where we're going to probably spend, 3 to 8 minutes on each one to sort of go over it, discuss what it does, and then give it a ranking. Secondly, and this is very important, or thirdly, I should say, you'll see on screen that we have two categories, mechanics and flavor. I understand that some of these archetypes are designed more to round out your character's life and existence as a not adventuring person, right? Some of these are for Dungeons and Dragons style adventuring, and some of them are for playing The Sims in Golarion. All right. And I am not going to try to judge those two types of archetypes on the same, on the same scale. Some of these archetypes are definitely going to be graded as a flavor archetype. All right. So we'll make that decision as we go to them, and the chat will be able to help out, of course. Let me think. What's last? Oh, last thing. Free archetype. So the existence or non-existence of free archetype is not really going to weigh into our discussion. Whether you have access to free archetype or you are having to use your class feats in order to take archetype feats, either way, you're giving up a resource. You're either giving up your 10 free feats that you get from free archetype, or you're giving up your class feats, assuming that everybody is using free archetypes or everybody isn't using free archetypes. So I don't really, in my personal opinion, I don't really think that makes much of a difference, except, and I say this with one big caveat, if we take a flavor class, okay, a flavor archetype, like the very, very, very famous flavor archetype of celebrity, okay? If we take the flavor archetype of celebrity, I would say that for most instances where you are playing a standard Pathfinder 2 game, if you are giving up your class feats in order to take celebrity feats, you are potentially weakening your character. But if you have access to free archetype, then feel free to take whatever you want. It really won't change the overall power level of your character. There are certainly a couple of archetypes which are extremely powerful, and they can definitely give your character a power boost. Free archetype is supposed to be neutral, but I don't really think it is. I do think it's a power boost, especially with certain key critical archetypes that we'll get into. Okay, So that's kind of the ground rules. And of course, as always, if you like us and you want to support us, feel free to like and subscribe. Check out our Patreon. We have a link below, patreon.com/Knights of Last Call. We have an ongoing e-zine that we publish called Battle Cry, full of interesting articles, cool new ideas, house rules, expanded systems that we've been working on. That's pretty neat. We also have bonus footage, bonus videos going back across our entire library of content. So there's a lot of cool stuff. And of course, you get access to our Discord, which is for Patreon members only. You get access to playing Community Act games. We have a whole Foundry server set up with a Forge server to run community games, not just Pathfinder 2, but Call of Cthulhu, Legend of the Five Rings, Blades in the Dark, Wicked Ones, Powered by the Apocalypse, you name it, Root, everything. We're playing it all. So there's a lot of cool things that are offered there. The community, I think, is the biggest sell. And of course, you get to support us, which is fun. Well, it's fun for me, but it should be fun for you as well. All right, what do you think, folks? What do you think? We should get into it? Most people who are going to be here are here. I imagine so. Quick shout out, by the way, to we've got Self-Confessed Cynic in the chat. We've got GM Scott in the chat. We've got I thought I saw John in the chat as well. And these are all our these are all members of the Knights of... Oh, Bob, of course, is here. Bob, big shout out to Bob. These are all members of our Knights of Last Call adventuring group, which gives them a really cool... oh, there he is. There he is. Which give them really cool green names and loyalty badges. He's dual boxing. I love it. That's the way it should be. All right, so let's get into it, shall we? All right. Multiclass archetypes. We're going to start with the Alchemist. All right. Yeah, here we go, people. All right. So, Alchemist is our first one, and we got to decide where this bad boy is going to go. Yep. What happened to you, buddy? Okay. Sorry, I put it in the wrong place in Photoshop. Interesting. I don't know what's happening to this thing. Okay. Do this. There we go. Okay. Minor heartache there. All right. Alchemist archetype. So the first thing, by the way, in terms of grading these things, we really do need to look at the dedication feat. A lot of these archetypes are going to live or die based off of how good the dedication feat is, because some of these dedication feats really do feel like attacks, and some of these dedication feats are actually pretty reasonable. So you need intelligence of 14, and you pick up the Alchemist dedication. You become trained in alchemical bombs. Well, that's okay. Crafting, okay. And remember, our baseline assumption is that when you get a dedication, you're going to get training in some sort of class or class skill, related skill, and get some sort of other perk or fringe benefits. So what do we get for Alchemist dedication? We get crafting, which kind of makes sense. And we get to be able to throw bombs, which is cool. And we then gain the Alchemist Infused Reagents class feature, gaining a number of reagents each day equal to our level. So this scales pretty well. We also gain the alchemical crafting feat, and we gain 4 formulas for first level items, as well as the ability to create free items during our daily preparations as per an alchemist. Now, our advanced alchemy level is stuck at 1, and it does not increase on its own, unlike a normal alchemist. So this gives us, 1 reagent a day, and using our advanced alchemy, we can turn that into 2 elements or 2 potions, or 2 elixirs, or 2 mutagens, or 2 bombs. And it's stuck at level 1. It does not advance. We also pick up alchemical crafting. So we're getting crafting and training in alchemical bombs, and we get alchemical reagents. So that that to me seems pretty good. Now, I have some experience with this. Bob had this in our Rise of the Rulers campaign. His Barbarian had this. He didn't really get that good of use out of it. But I respect the fact that this is going to just eventually end up getting you, you know, you're getting 2 reagents a day, and you can use those 2 reagents to make 4 potions, and you can hand out 4 level 1 potions. I mean, that's pretty good. A lot of cool little low level items you can take. So let's try to imagine what's going to happen through here. Okay, so a couple levels higher, you get basic concoction, which lets you obviously take a 1st or 2nd level alchemy feat. We know about that. We could also talk about that a little bit with Alchemist or with archetypes. My problem with archetypes is number 1, I think they should be at 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, 11th level. That way you're not getting no feats, 2 class feats, no feats, 2 class feats, no feats, 2 class feats. I'd rather them be staggered so that you're always getting a class feat. So you alternate between your class and your archetype, your class and your archetype, your class and your archetype. I think that'd be much cooler, more fun, and I like that way your character starts. For a lot of people, archetype is a big part of what your background is. In fact, I think archetype is a lot cooler of a background than, you know, your background is. And so it's weird that you just suddenly become this at level 2. I think starting at dedication at level 1 is a great way to say that was my character's background going into this. And it's just this really awkward thing where, like, your character was never a pirate. Your character never was on the water, and then level 2, suddenly your archetype is pirate. And you're like, oh yeah, I was a pirate the whole time. It's very awkward, and it's very silly. So even if you don't want to do the math and the rework, and maybe that's something we'll do for Battlecry one day, but at the very least, I would let you choose a dedication at level 1, and then maybe you don't get the second option until level 4. Alternatively, if you want to give a little bit more power to it, this is something I've been thinking about doing, is you get the 1st level dedication at level 1. This is assuming you're using free archetype. You get the dedication at level 1. At level 2, you get sort of a stripped down version of basic concoction. And at level 2, you can just choose a level 1 feat. And then at level 4, you get your normal feat. And that way characters get something at 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And again, I'd rather it be on the odd levels, but I think that's something that I think is worth trying to do. The other thing about archetypes that I want to talk about before we get into it is overall, most I think every archetype pretty much has, or the multi-class archetypes, the ones for our classes, all have basically this basic feat, which gives you a level 1 or 2 feat. And then they all have an advanced feat, which requires you to have taken the basic feat. And then you get another feat from that class, but it's half your character level. And I hate this. The reason I hate this is because when you're level 4, you could take a level 2 feat. So that is only 1 tier of feats behind where your level is at. That's pretty cool. But then when you're level 6, if you were to take advanced concoction, for example, you would gain a level 3 feat. Well, there are no level 3 feats. You'd have to take a level 2 feat. And so now that's 2 tiers behind. And then when you're level 10, if you took advanced concoction, you'd gain a level 5 feat. But there are no level 5 feats. You have to take a level 4 feat. And so that's 6 levels behind. That's 3 tiers. I don't like that advanced concoction I don't like that any of the advanced feats are half your character's level. I think it should be something like, you know, level -2 or level -4, right? So that's just something I think is worth noting. All right, let's get back to this Alchemist. Okay, you can pick up Quick Alchemy at level 4, which lets you do some, the short-lived single actions. Has to be in your book. So, I mean, you're kind of getting a lot of the Alchemist's flavor and fun here. Now, your Alchemist level is still going to be stuck at 1. So at level 6, you can pick up Expert Alchemy. You get you go up to level 3 in your Alchemist level, and at 10, it goes up to 5. So again, it's always going to be half. You're not going to be the most competitive Alchemist in the world, unlike with spellcasting, which can be pretty potent and powerful. You get, okay, at 12, you go to 7. And then for every level you gain beyond 12, you go to 1. Okay. All right. Actually, that's pretty good. That means that at 20th level, you would end up at 15th Alchemist level. I don't think that's bad. That's very much in line with the spellcasters. I think this is a very solid, versatile, fun, expandable, great multi-class. I think this is a B. That's my take on it. I think Alchemist is a B. I think you get a lot of the fun here. In fact, I know I don't really recommend being an alchemist, but like a class. But yeah, Cedric, exactly. Cedric took the words right out of my mouth. I'd probably take this over the real class. I think you get a lot of fun. I think that, I mean, honestly, I'm almost borderline saying this is an A. You may have already covered this, but do you consider multi-classing in the free archetype rule? I was confused on that. Mark, I am rating this based off of just whatever the archetype is. If you're using free archetype, great, that's fun. If you're not using free archetype, either way, I think you're giving up a resource. And so I'm not making this distinction assuming that you're going to have a free archetype or you're not going to have a free archetype. That being said, I understand that most people like to use free archetype. And so I think a lot of our conversations will sort of lean in that direction. The only thing I made about free archetype is if you are taking free archetype or if you are doing free archetype, I think you could be much less. You shouldn't feel bad for taking a flavorful archetype because your core chassis of your game is solid. You're still taking all of your character's core class feats. It's going to make you a really, really, really awesome character, a really, really strong fighter, or a really, really, really strong bard. And then you just use your free archetype, and yeah, sure, you could take something busted or broken, like Beastmaster, but you took Celebrity, and I don't think you should feel bad about that for 1 second, because I do think that free archetype is for bonus, and I think if you want to squeeze every drop of power out of your character, yes, there are some archetypes that you could take that will make you a stronger character build, but for the most part, I really don't think that you get punished that much if you use your free archetype feats to just kind of take whatever. All right, Self-Confessed Cynic with a super chat. I house ruled a top-end archetype feat for all class dedications that lets you take feats at level -2 a few months ago. Requires some prereqs, works well. Yeah, I love that. I don't know if it's level -2 or if it's level -4. Something tells me that level -4 is probably the right way to go. If Vin made it level -2, my chances, I feel like level -4. And that also feels kind of in line with like the spellcasting character classes, like the spellcasting feats eventually at highest level get access to 8th level spells. They never get 10th level spells. They don't get 9th level spells. They get 8th level spells. And, I think that is, that's pretty cool. Yeah, correct. I err towards less balance and more awesome. Yeah. So whatever Vin says, just take it down 1 notch and you're probably starting to get into the original areas. John says, meanwhile, he gave all of his players Beastmaster archetype for free for completing a hidden quest that I didn't think they'd actually do. I think that's perfectly fun and valid and awesome. And I mean, that's a great way to reward characters. I think that's really, really fun way to do it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, real impressed with Alchemist. I think this is a very solid multi-class archetype. All right, Barbarian. All right, you get training in athletics. Okay, well, right off the bat, by the way, we need strength and constitution of 14. So we need 2 requisites. You're probably going to have this if you are a character that is very, very martially oriented. You get train in athletics, and you get rage. You have to choose an instinct. Okay. You have that instinct. You're bound by all the anathemas, but you don't gain any of the abilities. Womp womp. Okay. And you get the rage action. You tap into your inner fury. You begin raging. You get temporary hit points equal to your level plus your con modifier. Same as a regular barbarian. It lasts for 1 minute. Same as a barbarian. You get 2 extra damage. You take -1 penalty to your AC. This is probably fairly bad. I mean, this is a very bad rage, and you're having to sacrifice an action to do it. So the fact that we're picking up nothing else, we have an instinct, but we don't get anything else from it, is pretty brutal. You know, I think Power of Doi made a great point too, right? This is already basically, with a 14-14 requirement, you're basically already kind of restricting this to your more martially oriented classes, who probably already have athletics. So I'm not as impressed with this dedication. Yes, GM Scott said it best. You may not get all the benefits, but at least you get all of the penalties. And also I saw a post from Sven. He said, in my opinion, you're very wrong about the Alchemist because most potions are trash. C tier at best for me. Self-confessed cynic. I do think that there are, with that kind of versatility and the ability to, you know, I mean, I think about it like scrolls, right? Like, you just have access to all that stuff for free. You just get, you know, 20 plus reagents for free at high level. I think that's pretty cool. Even if they are, you know, only 15th level items, that's a lot of versatility. So, all right. So I'm not really impressed with this. Okay, resiliency feats. We see this with a lot of the archetype classes, the multi-class archetype that are kind of martially oriented, which gives you a bonus hit points. The idea being that, you know, well, barbarians are 12 hit points per level. My rogue is 8 hit points per level. This will get me up to 3. I don't think these are particularly good feats. You get more hit points the more you choose, but I suppose if you really wanted to be some like 6 hit point class and a barbarian, this would help boost your hit points up a little bit. But these generally speaking aren't that great. Again, we've got the Fury and the Advanced Fury, our feat selection abilities. Okay, at level 6, we get our Instinct ability. And at level 12, we get one that lets us raise our fort saves to Master. So this one, you know, being able to, you know, get our fort save up to Master, but we already have to be an expert in the fort saves, which we probably could be by then, even if we were, you know, something else, like a rogue or something like that. And then we get our instinct ability. So we do actually pick up the, you know, extra points of damage that it does, or we pick up the, you know, so if we go for the dragon instinct, we're going to pick up, our additional damage goes from 2 to 4. But here's the problem. There's no other way for us to ever get things like the raging resistance or the specialization ability or critical specialization. I just feel like this is you're going to get these barbarian feats, but you're not going to be a very good barbarian for sure. Damien and Rainhunter are saying resiliency is good if you're basically going full free archetype only using that class. Okay, I'll buy that. If you choose only, you know, if you were to choose 10 barbarian resiliency feats, barbarian feats with your free archetype, you would gain 30 hit points, which is, you know, it's not a ton, but I mean, it's something. So I guess for one feat, maybe that's not so bad. Overall, I'm not the most impressed with this. I'm not really all that impressed with this multi-class feat. I feel like it's probably underpowered. I don't like that you don't get the higher levels of the barbarian ability. There's no way for you to get the resilience. There's no way for you to get the greater rage. There's no way for you to get critical specialization. And as is a common trope that we will see again and again and again and again, we all know this already, so I'm just beating a dead horse here. You know, there's no way to get your proficiency above expert. You know, even if you take a multi-class fighter, even, or barbarian. I'm not a big fan of this barbarian. Just not a big fan of this barbarian thing, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to say that it's yeah. I'm gonna have to say that it's I think it's a D. I just don't think it does enough. Power of Doi says, not gonna lie, I've built probably 300 PCs on Path Builder, 95% using free archetype, and I've never looked at Barbarian. Fighter gets you attack of opportunity, chance gets you armor.
GM Scott tipped $25.
Yeah.
I've got to go. I'll catch the VOD. By all, don't forget to tip your white staff.
Thank you, GM Scott. Thank you very much for your continued support. I look forward to your thoughts on the VOD and let us know what you think about that. Thank you so much, as always, my friend. God bless. So yeah, I kind of basically agree with Doi there. An extra couple points of damage for having to spend an action and gain a -1 AC and gain the anathema is just, I don't think it's that great. Barb has good static damage, so it comes in useful as an end game dedication. Even then, Vin, I mean, are you really going to trade out, a point of armor class and an action to rage just to gain, 4 points of damage? I don't know. Yeah. Okay. You still think it's a D. All right. Fair enough. I'll go with that. All right. So Bard is very similar to a lot of the spellcasters are going to be similar because a lot of the spellcasters I think are going to follow the same basic kind of principle. And we really need to talk about this as a group, and we need to decide what we want to do. So here's the deal with the Bard. The dedication is you get 2 cantrips. Okay, you get Bard. You actually pick up 2 training in 2 skills. You get occultism and performance. Cool. And you get 2 cantrips from your tradition. In this case, occult. Cantrips are scale, and they are always going to scale to the level that you are. In other words, your level 20 cantrip is going to be heightened to spell level 10. When you're level 20, I should say. When you're level 20, your cantrip is 10. But the DC is going to be based off of whatever DC you get from your character class, which obviously starts off at trained in your occultism list. You start at trained with spell attack rolls and DC for occult spells. So if you don't pump that up, that is going to basically be useless towards the end of the game, unless you're literally only using cantrips like guidance or something like that. And quite frankly, probably other people would have them. But if for whatever reason you didn't have this, again, ultimately, I actually think the dedication feats for spellcasters are actually pretty good. But here's the most important part. You gain cast a spell activity. That's why you take this. The reason why this is important is because now you can use scrolls and you can use wands to cast spells of that tradition. And this is not like Pathfinder 1 where there's a spell check in order to use a scroll. If I picked up Bard Dedication, many levels later, my character can now use level 3 heroism scrolls, level 6 heroism scrolls, level 9 heroism scrolls, no problem whatsoever. Now, sure, the DC is still going to be based off of my DC, which is going to be pretty garbage. But if you're casting buffs or helpful spells, combat buffs or even long duration buffs like Longstrider or heroism, this can be immensely powerful. And I really think it's really quite good. So then there's the issue of the spell casting. Here's the deal with the spell casting. It sucks really early and it's really cool later on. At level 4, Lollipop says a level 1 bard can use Alter Reality Scroll, right? Yes, as far as we know, yes. Yeah, I think it's really strong because really weak at the end of the beginning of the game. Because at level 4, you're gonna pick basic bard spellcasting, and you're gonna get one level 1 spell, and it's gonna suck. Okay. But it's going to keep growing, and you're going to end up with level 6, you're going to get a level 2 spell, level 8, you're going to get, okay, you're like, okay, this is kind of cool, but you're like, man, everybody else has like 12 spells, and I have 3 spells, and they're lower level. At some point, you will pick up expert bard spellcasting and breadth. And at this point, suddenly you're like, okay, I've got 2 first level spells, 2 second level spells, 2 third level spells, 2 fourth level spells, a 5th level spell, and a 6th level spell. And suddenly there is this transition that occurs probably around probably around level 12 to 14, where suddenly you go, okay, now my character feels kind of like a Gish. I actually feel like I have enough spell repertoire to feel supported and to feel empowered to do so. And this goes all the way up eventually to becoming a Master Bard spellcaster. So ironically, by the way, by taking an archetype and taking 5 feats, dedication, basic spellcasting, expert spellcasting, and master spellcasting, sorry, just 4 feats, you will end the game at a master level of spell proficiency, which is the same as the War Priest. So your 4 feats from a free archetype get you as much benefit, or as good of a spellcaster as a War Priest. Yeah, the War Priest gets a couple more spells, I know, but in terms of the DC. So that's kind of true for all of the spellcasters. This is one of my biggest bugaboos in the entire thing. So bards get these really cool composition cantrips. Okay? And you, as an archetype, bard archetype, do not get this until level 8. At level 8, you can take a feat to gain the level 1 composition cantrip, Inspire Courage. I hate that that is so freaking high level. I hate that. And again, you pick up bard feats, but you know, a lot of the bard feats, like some of these are pretty good because some of the bard feats give you access to the focus spell. So for example, we can use our bardic option to pick up Hymn of Healing and gain a focus healing spell, which is really, really cool. We can, if you're a spellcaster and you pick up bard, you can use your free archetypes to pick up meta magic feats like reach spell or widen spell if you so inclined. You can use basic bard to pick up inspire competence and get that again as a composition cantrip. So I do think that there is a lot to like to the bard class. Rainhunter says Inspire Courage feels like a level 8 feat to me. Rainhunter, I don't, for me honestly, it like that to me is what it means to be a bard. I guess I just see it as being something that you should get earlier, because by the time you're that level, it's like you have heroism. You're almost on the verge of having heroism level, 2nd level heroism. Yeah, I mean, I know that they get like their cantrips, but I don't know. I just feel like maybe they should have got it at level 4. I think level 4 doesn't feel that wrong to me. But overall, I'm very impressed with the bard. You know, I like the occult spell list. I like that they can, I like that the feats that you could pick from the bard give you those additional focus spells. And some of them are really, really useful out of the bard. The bard lets you pick up those composition cantrips and those composition focus spells. And you do eventually get Inspire Courage as a composition cantrip. So Vin says, for $5, thank you, buddy. In my opinion, most caster dedications start at C and go towards A at the end game. S for Arcane. I'm going to agree with that. The question is, so let's just assume then, for most intents and purposes, that most spellcasting archetypes, roughly, at least if it's a good one, maybe Divine's a little weaker, are around a B. Does the bard have enough going for it that it ekes out into the A level? And that, I think, is the real question. Should also note that the bard requires a single stat, which is charisma, but charisma actually turns out to be pretty good in Pathfinder 2. Getting extra resonance slots, I think is good. Attunement slots, I should say. They got rid of resonance. So yeah. Overall, I think this is probably going to end up for me being probably just a B. Yeah, I think B for bard. Shadran said, I had a bard archetype in my monk. Accidentally took Inspire Courage at 6 because I misread the level. My GM was very, very lenient. He didn't drown me in lava until level 12. Yeah, level 6 is still okay. I think level 4 would be really awesome. I like B for bard, and we'll go from there. Okay. Get the champion. The champion. All right. So, champion dedication is, I would say, in contention for being one of the most powerful archetypes in the game. By the way, Power of Doi is making a plea for Bard to be an A because the dedication basically gives you the full class. Sorcerer misses Blood Magic, Witch misses the Patron Hexes, Cleric misses the font, Bard nope. How do you mean Power of Doi? I don't actually know what you mean. I'll let Power of Doi kind of speak up there, but I mean, you get a muse, but you don't get anything that the muse offers you. It says that in the class description. It does not give you a free feat. It's choose a muse as if you were a bard. You have that muse for all purposes, allowing you to take the muse feats, but you don't gain any of the other abilities that it grants. So you definitely don't get any of that stuff. All right, maybe someone could explain to me what Power of Doi is talking about. Or maybe I'm just confused here. So we get Enigma or we get Maestro, but we don't get any of this stuff. Like, we wouldn't gain Lingering Composition and Soothe. I see. Okay. I see what you're saying, Power of Doi. Okay, I get it. Power of Doi, I don't think that necessarily increases the bard's power to A. I think it might penalize certain other multi-classing spellcasters archetypes down to C. I'll say that. For sure. All right. But maybe you're right. I mean, there could be a case to be made. Champion. So, long story short, champion, you get training in light, medium, and heavy armor. You also get that alone is huge. You could be a spellcaster who is not trained in any armor, and now you are trained in light, medium, and heavy. And all you needed was a 14 strength and a 14 charisma. Obviously, if you're a charisma-based caster, this is extremely easy. You just need 14 in your strength. You get religion and an additional skill. And then you get to pick up the same resiliency feat that we were talking about before. But more importantly, you get Lay on Hands as a feat option. And you get, more importantly, the Champion's Reaction as a level 6 ability. A lot of people go this far and they don't go any further. Although if you do want to go all the way down and really max this game out, there is actually the way also too to take your armor, which your newfound armor expertise, which is in heavy, and raise it all the way to expert. So even if you're a, this, by the way, creates a real problem for me. I had a cloistered cleric who went archetype into champion, and then at like level 12, his robes, which he had never worn, became expert, but that meant that my robes were suddenly a better armor than my heavy armor. And because I'd been raising my dex anyways. And so then I like switched into robes for 2 levels. And then at level 14, I finally could take diverse armor expert. And then I could hop back into my heavy armor. It's a very weird set of circumstances that the game sometimes creates and generates these weird little strange moments where it's like, hey, my guy's never worn robes the entire game. He's been in full plate. But then for 2 levels of the game, I have a better AC if I use my cloth robes again. It's really strange. Don't really like it. But anyways, this is, if you're a charisma based class, you put some points into strength and you take this archetype. If you're a strength-based class, you put some points into charisma and you take this archetype. This archetype is so busted. It's so busted. I mean, it's obviously very clearly S tier. I think this archetype is way too powerful. And to be honest, Red Volpes makes a great point. The champion feats suck anyways, most of them, and you really just get everything that you kind of would want out of this. You know, I mean, you get Divine Ally if you want it. I don't think you do. You're like, cool, I could skip that. You're like, yeah. You're like, awesome, I totally skip that. Like, well, what do you want? I really just kind of want lay on hands. I want, maybe I could want some additional hit points if I wanted them for resiliency, but really a lot of people do three dip. You go champion dedication, you get your heavy armor, you pick up 2 skills. At level 4, you take healing touch. At level 6, you take champion's reaction, and then boom, you're on to your next archetype. It's probably one of the most, if not the most powerful 3 feet dip type archetype dedication, and it's just extremely powerful. It's just extremely powerful. Very, very good. Aaron says, weird proficiency stuff is my biggest pet peeve in the system. I agree, Aaron. It does create these really strange breakpoints and weird moments, but especially for, like I said, like, you've been playing the game for 10 levels. Do you realize that, like, before the Barbarian and the Monk and the Ranger get to master weapon proficiency at level 13, at level, like, 12 and 11, a Wizard or a Cloistered Cleric or, you know, a Witch have the same proficiency with weapons as you do, as a Barbarian does, as a Ranger does. You're all expert. It's like, what? That just doesn't even make sense. The only downside about Champions at 4, you must pick between a domain and lay on hands, and at 6 between ally and reaction. Annoying the reactions have level 1 feats you can retrain, but it's an easy S. Yeah, I mean, I don't view that as annoying. I view that as a cool option. I like that you can do fun stuff with this. I think it's a great multi-class. Cleric, on the other hand, is bad. Cleric feats suck. So getting access to Cleric feats is kind of disappointing. You get 2 divine cantrips, which are arguably the worst cantrips in the entire game. You pick up an anathema for 2 cantrips that suck. You get all the same spellcasting leveling up that we talked about with the Bard, but it's divine only. You get no access to divine font. You get no access to anything else. Master, expert, divine breath. You get the feat, you get this. Like, that's it. There's literally, look at that. This is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. I think this might be worse. This might be worse than the Barbarian. Honestly, if we're being honest with ourselves, I think this is a total and complete failure. So, question. Cleric archetype. Is it a D? Is it a C? Or is it, you guessed it, an F? D is for Cleric Derek. Yeah, I'm just really not impressed with that at all. D is for domain, since it's the only selling point. Maybe. I mean, getting a focus spell for 1 archetype feat, and again, I don't think a lot of those focus points are really good. Fighter Cleric archetype is better War Priest than War Priest. I mean, the War Priest at least gets divine font, and they get their spells early, and they do get eventually access to the highest level spells. But in terms of being a combatant and like fighting, Damien, you're absolutely correct. D is for domain. People complain when they only have 1 good choice. Yeah, I mean, I like having interesting choices. I think that's really fun. Access to heal spells and such isn't bad. Breck, you don't really gain access to heal spells, though. At level 4, you will gain 1 level 1 heal spell a day. Aaron, I could buy that for your specific instance. I think that's actually pretty cool and a good idea. And a good way to get around the low DC because you're tying it into your spell strike. So I actually do I think that's cool, Aaron. I think that's actually really cool. JG says the Divine List doesn't have great self-buffs, but there's still spells, and you do get heals and heroism and scrolls. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I still think you get all the benefits of that. I just think the Divine List is pretty bad. But overall, our poll came out to be that everybody feels like seems to feel like it's a D. So I'm going to put it into D. I feel comfortable with that. I mean, you're still getting spells. You're still getting access to whatever. I could buy that. But so that takes us to the Druid. The Druid is also fairly similar. You're getting access to the Primal. Remember, you get a little bit better cantrips there. Let's see. You get 2 cantrips from Primal. You get the Druidic Language. You get Druid's Anathema. And you choose a Druid order. But you don't get anything from being in that order. All right. As before, you get, like the Cleric, you get your basic spell casting, your expert spell casting, your Primal, your With. This is all from Strength of Thousands, and we're going to ignore all this because that's level 20. And it's rare. The only thing that the Druid picks up is you get the initial, you could take a feat at 4 to get your order focus spell. I think, is the Druid supposed to be green like that? That's weird. Are they all like that? Oh, interesting. Just the Druid. I took the wrong thing. That's why I took the Druid dedication. There we go. So, what do we think about the Druid? Yeah, I think the Druid's fine. I don't think it's as good as the Bard. It's probably just a solid C. The Arcane list is probably stronger. The Primal list is missing some of my favorite spells that you would want to cast scrolls off of, like Heroism. I mean, you do get access to Longstrider. That's not nothing. So, Powered Doy says, Wild Order is great for unarmed marshals. Leaf is a great out of combat. Sustain beyond that. Probably C. All right. I like how the Druid dedication also wrecks a character's ability to use metal, something the Druid themselves shouldn't even still have. JG, that's a really great point too. Yeah, this metal thing is kind of strange. I think we can safely put Druid at C. I think it's just fine. One of the biggest disappointments of my whole life. I like that you get attacks of opportunity, but boy, it's rough. This is like the classic moment for Pathfinder 2. Okay. Druid is slept on because of Wild Shape, broken on fighters, and the ability to prep from the whole list. B or A? Vin coming in with a $5 super chat. What do we think, folks? Vin is making a pitch. He's saying that Wild Shape is broken, potentially on fighters. Sure. I mean, you typically end up with an attack bonus, so that's not that bad. And you can use yours if it's higher, so that's fine. And you do get the ability to prep, so you can just chase whatever. What do we think? Do we think Vin is full of crap? So stay C, or should it be B? All right, community. I'm putting it out to you guys. Wild Shape Monks. All right, nice. I've literally got a Wild Shape fighter in my Bloodlords campaign. The form spells don't scale it that impressively. Full list is a big bonus. I mean, I will agree to that. There's a lot of versatility that comes with that. They're a prepared caster. Clerics get that too, but I don't think the Divine list is as good. Wild Shape is broken only with fighter. I also kind of agree about that. Access to heal and Electric Arc is worth a B, according to Damian Williams. What does the chat think? All right, well, 63% of you are saying B, and I am going to buy that from you guys. I think that's fine. I could be some. This is not. I agree with the group. You get slow. That's true. Does the Druid have decent feats? I think they're better than the Cleric, red, but I don't think they're as great. Charek says, one of my fellow players is going fighter with Druid dedication next campaign. Now I understand their plan. Yes, yes. RPG! 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 Druid feats make it a bootleg Beastmaster. That's true. You can take the Druidic feats to take Beastmaster feats and be a worse Beastmaster. That is true. All right, I'm down. I could buy it. Listen, I'm excited. I love it. All right, let's go to this fighter, people, because we know how we're gonna feel about this. Okay. Let's just clear this up. If I was a wizard or a cleric or a whatever, a witch, and I took at level 2 and I'm not even talking about free archetype. I'm talking about regular archetype. And at level 2, I took the fighter dedication. And then I spent every single feat, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, all on fighter dedication. At the end of the game, so my character, if they were a spellcaster, would have no class feats. All of my feats would be fighter feats. And my character's weapon proficiency would be expert. It's very disappointing. The fighter dedication gives you training in simple and martial weapons. I think this is pretty bad. And that's it. This is one of the best. This is one of the worst fighter dedications. Secondly, it requires 2 prerequisites. This has got to be a typo, right? Because a fighter could choose one of the 2 key stats. You could be a fighter with a strength of key, or you could be a strider with a dex key. But some odd reason, the dedication requires both. It seems stupid. Completely stupid. You get the resiliency. Okay, at level 4, at not 6, at 4, you can pick up Attack of Opportunity. And that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. And the only other thing you get is your fighter feats. Fighter feats are pretty strong. So this is really about cherry picking with your free archetype some high, like some 6th, 8th, and 10th level fighter feats. To maybe very specifically pick out a build. I just don't feel like the fighter. This doesn't make me feel like I'm a better fighter. I just, it gives me fighter feats. And assuming we were using free archetype, or even if we weren't using free archetype, I could pick up Attack of Opportunity. A level higher, right? Because like paladins or champions and monks and rangers and barbarians, they can all get it at level 6. And so if I took fighter dedication, and this is assuming not free card type, I could pick it up a level earlier at 4 instead of 6. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's particularly exciting. So I'm going to say it's better than the Barbarian. So I'll say it's a C. C? Do we all think C? Self-confessed cynic thinks it's a C. Let's see who else here. C. Okay. Damien built a brute rogue with a fighter dedication for archetype, and it was so ridiculously broken. Well, Rain Hunter, I don't think the Barbarian's feats are as good as the fighter feats, and this gives you access to attack of opportunity at level 4. The Barbarian dedication, you'd have to be level 12 to take attack of opportunity, and this you get at level 4. So that already is pretty good. And I think the Barbarian's rage is sort of a trap, because like you're getting +2 damage for -1 AC. That's just not even close to being worth it. Oh, and you have to spend an action to do that. So you're spending an action to get -1 AC for +2 damage. That's a joke. Yeah, Rage has a lot of drawbacks. Fighter has better feats. Yeah, I agree with that. And yeah, the strength and dex requirement of 14 is dumb. All right. Sounds good. I have no idea about this one. Gunslinger. Gunslinger. Well, it's uncommon, so there's that. And what do we got going on for the Gunslinger, huh? Well, you need a dexterity of 14. You get trained in martial and simple crossbows and firearms. And you get away, but you don't get anything else from that except for a skill. So you get training with guns. And then you can get a feat, or you can get a better feat up to half your level. At 6, you could take the deed that you chose with your way. At 10, you get the upgrade, the reload for your way. And you get an upgrade of Perception Master. That's actually kind of cool. That's actually nice. I actually like that. That's much earlier. You can get that with Canny Acumen, but that doesn't, you don't get that until like level 18 or something. 17, really high level. So getting Master early in Perception is pretty cool. And again, you can eventually pump your stuff all the way up to Expert. So, yeah. I mean, problem is, are you going to be Fighter Gunslinger might be a better Gunslinger than Gunslinger. I could see that. I like this. I think being able to get the deed and the reload for your way is pretty good. I think you're going to end up feeling more like a Gunslinger because you're going to have access to the sort of enablers that allow them. I will say this. The first 6 or 8 levels of this are going to be pretty freaking rough. Gunslingers already can be kind of a class that feels like they're like slow to take on. Like, I'll say this, I would never play a Gunslinger. It's just not my style. But like if I was playing like a 1 through 10 campaign, I would never be a Gunslinger. But like if we were starting a game off at level 10, like I think that would make me more likely to choose a Gunslinger. Rainhunter says reload is really late for how crucial it is to use a gun. Rainhunter, I completely agree with you. As much as I like, but that this gives this to you, you know, could be a good crossbow feat. I mean, Drifter is obviously the one that most people choose anyways. I don't know. I'm leaning towards liking this. But again, I mean, level 10 is pretty high level for this to get the Slinger's reload. I could see, Self-Confessed Cynic says B or C, and that is what I am thinking as well. So let's see what you guys all think. I'm in between. I agree with Rainhunter that getting access to these abilities a little late feels sluggish, but I like that you can at least gain access to them and like actually feel like you're kind of being able to do the thing. Boothby's pointing out that there are feats that you can take that let you reload a little bit easier. Senpai, thank you for that wonderful, awesome New Zealand super chat. Drop a like on the stream, guys. Get that algorithm working for Derek. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Senpai, for the support. Thank you for being here. And, after Tuesday's stream, your avatar image doesn't seem as out of place anymore on our stream, does it? It's a close one. But people are leaning B. Right, Boothby. We got to get to 50 likes. If we don't get to 50 likes, I'm going to do something silly. All right. Overall, 70% of you are saying B, and I'm happy with it. It's the stream needs more. Oh boy, you like that? That was chef's kiss. Yeah, I like that you can choose a way and you can actually gain access, and you actually get some of the cool things that the way is going to let you do, and I really do like that. Lollipop, I can see where that is the case as well. Oh, I really didn't expect to hear Derek thank his senpai for cash. Oh, thank you, senpai. All right. What do we got next? Folks, I'm not going to lie. I have no idea about this one. Inventor dedication. All right, what do we get? You need into 14. You get crafting. You get the Inventor skill feat. Okay, which lets you... That's just a skill feat, right? That lets you craft in your downtime and try to make up... Yep. You can spend downtime to invent a formula. Okay, great. And you can choose an innovation. You gain that innovation, although you do not gain any other abilities that modify or use that innovation, such as modifications or explode. So, we get either armor. What, do we actually get it, though? You do not gain any other abilities that modify or use that innovation. We get the feat. We can improve our crafting automatically. So that's actually pretty good, right? One feat gives you legendary at 15. I like that. I mean, that's pretty cool. I actually like this is very cool. This is a good, cool thing. We got all our feats. At level 6, we can make our invention explode per the normal inventor. And at level 8, we can get a modification. You gain a basic modification of your choice for your invention. Your innovation must meet the requirements for the modification. So we still get kind of, sort of, a little... I mean, it kind of feels a little bit like the Alchemist, doesn't it? Oh, you know what? Maybe Vin's right. Maybe this is our first flavor. I don't think that this is actually particularly powerful, but gaining access to, you know what though, Vin? No, I don't think a multiclass can ever be a flavor. I don't think it could be a multiclass. I don't think a multiclass could be a flavor. I think we have to save that for non-multiclass. I mean, I agree with JG. It's a weird class to begin with. Basic weapon mod lets you have trip grapple on any weapon. Let's take a look. We have a weapon innovation. We get a modification. Entangling form. Wires and straps. Your innovation gains the grapple and trip traits. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that is kind of cool. I mean, I'll say this. Maybe a fighter with a free archetype of Inventor is like a cooler Inventor than an Inventor. So if it's not flavor, then it isn't good feat-wise as a fighter, so C or D. But, Vin, you do get an innovation when you choose the dedication. You do get it. You get that innovation. You don't gain any other abilities that modify or use that innovation, but you still get the innovation. So you still get your armor, or you get your construct, or you get your weapon. You still get that, which I mean, that at least is something. I mean, the basic armor, I mean, it kind of sucks, but you know, it kind of sucks. Innovation without modification is useless. Don't they only get useful once you modify them? Yeah, I guess that's true. And you can't modify them until level 8. I like it better than the class. Yeah, I kind of agree with Shadram there. All right. I'm going to put the Inventor at C. I don't know. Maybe it isn't D. Yeah, like it's right between for me, people, because I could see where this doesn't feel as good as the fighter feats. You get opportunist, but at the same time, you know, you can get modifications at level 8, and I respect that. I think that's kind of cool. I love this, bro. I love this. This is very cool. I mean, this alone might actually make me say it's a C. You know what? Screw it. I'm putting it at C. I think Brilliant Crafter is a really cool thing. So, I love it for that purpose alone. That I'm happy with that. All right. Next, yeah, you know what? Well, like I said, I probably wanted to get through maybe like 20 to 30 archetypes. So if we could, and we had our introduction tonight, so I think our goal should be to try to get through all 22 of the multi-class archetypes. So let's do it. Oh, we just did the Inventor. What am I doing here? All right, Investigator is our next one. Yeah, Rain Hunter. I agree. I like Inventor at C, maybe even high C Rain Hunter, because you know what? I really do think that legendary 1 feat to get legendary crafting is pretty cool. Austin, 100% agree with you. And this is, by the way, an example. I don't want to call it power creep. But if you look at the Inventor, a lot of times you go, wow, there's a lot of stuff here that feels like this is, they kind of learned how the Alchemist doesn't work and how maybe a class like this should work. And you look at Psychic and you look at Thaumaturge and you go, oh, gee, boy, these classes seem a little bit better designed. Maybe a little bit more powerful. It can be tricky. All right. So Investigator, again, it's 14. You get the On the Case class feature, which gives you pursue a lead and the clue in reaction. So you get 2 things right away. You get the pursue a lead activity and you get the clue in reaction. And as a reminder, pursue a lead is an exploration action that you spend 1 minute. And whenever you attempt to skill check that subject, you get a +1 bonus to the check. You can have your investigations going. And then if you can share information, you can use a reaction and give them a bonus of their information. So you get both of those. They're not the most... having investigator feats on a real class for most non-intrigue... Okay, you know what? All right, Vin. You're right. You get your stratagem at 4. You get more investigator feats. You can pick up the keen recollection feature. You can take a skill from expert to master, another skill from trained to master or expert, and then you also can pick your perception up to master. This to me is a flavor. I'm sorry. I said it wouldn't be, but I think it is. This to me is like a flavor. Like, I feel like if you want to be an investigator in Pathfinder 2, you should be like a really great class, and then like just take this dedication. And, you know, I mean, maybe it's even better. Like, you get all the cool detective things, you can get keen recollection, you get the skill mastery, you can pump your perception up, you get the double skill increase from skill recollection, you get all this stuff, and you get to be a cool, like, yeah, the dedication is better than the class, like, in a way, because you can put this on top of a template that is actually going to allow you to be like powerful and fun and cool in everything else that Pathfinder 2 does. Like, we talked about this before when we did the class tier rankings. If your campaign is literally Sherlock Holmes, undercover detective or whatever, go ahead, be the investigator. But that's the way most campaigns are not. Most campaigns are going to be a lot of fighting. You know, even in Agents of Edgewatch, which is like the investigator campaign, right? You're still a ton of fighting because it's Pathfinder 2. And so I love the idea of just sticking this onto your character class, and just having a really fun time in those moments and not feel bad like you're gimping your character. So I love it. I love it for that. Like a wizard investigator, like that's really cool. I like that. To be fair, I'm also not that impressed with the precision range or power of Doi, but I'll grant you that. Okay. I feel like we're going to be disappointed with the Magus. All right. Magu. The great Magus. All right. Now, look. This one lets you choose Strength or Dexterity 14. What the hell? And by the way, the real Magus doesn't even need intelligence. Why the fuck does this thing need intelligence? What is going on right now? What is going on? This doesn't even make sense. You get 2 cantrips. You don't even gain Spell Strike. D, right? What the fuck? This is horrible. This is bad. Like, the Magus is, by the way, the Magus is the class that gets 4 spell slots per day. Whereas, the Wizard and the Sorcerer and the Cleric and the Druid are the ones that get, I don't know, 30 to 40. And you're telling me that they have the same dedication feat as those classes? Like, that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense. Like, I get it. You can take it at level 4, but like, this is a feat tax. This is like the biggest feat tax I've ever seen in my life. Like, there is a 0% chance that you take dedication and you don't take Spell Striker. There is a 0%. Magus archetype lets you have action economy problems on any class. Guys, you know what? F's in the chat. F's in the chat. This sucks. This sucks. That's stupid. That's dumb. Don't treat this like it's a normal spellcasting class. Like, this is so dumb. Like, and by the way, you don't even get spellcasting. You get the bounded spellcasting. You're gonna take all these slots, all these feats, and you're still gonna end up with only a couple spells. F minus. This is horrible. Horrible. As a Magus main, I agree that the dedication is an F. All right. All right. Arcosori and Dad spoke, and they're playing. They got Magi experience, and they're giving us our blessing. Yeah, that is very disappointing. Wow. And that's an example of where they just said, we don't know what to do with this. We know we have to technically make a multi-class archetype for this class because that's what we do in this game. But we have no idea how to make this function. So, yeah, just complete failure. Just complete failure. Very disappointed. All right, Monk. Monk's up next. Boy, I want to play a Monk in Pathfinder 2. I just think they're fun. Flurry maneuvers just seems so fun to me. Good point, Rain Hunter. Good point. How are we doing tonight, people? We got 75 folks in here. Welcome, everybody. Hey, if you're new to the channel, make sure to like, subscribe, maybe click the bell icon. We do this all the time, If you like Pathfinder 2 or you're interested in other RPGs, come check us out. In fact, this is a great moment. I'm going to do a little quick plug. Tomorrow, at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to put the thumbnail up right after this stream. Tomorrow afternoon, okay? Tomorrow afternoon, we are going to be doing a special Friday mid-afternoon stream, okay? We're going to be doing a special Halloween holiday horror live stream. We're going to be joined by 2 of Knights of Last Call's most famous members, the legendary self-confessed cynic, Vin himself, and for his first appearance on the show, the one, the only, the legendary Ben A is going to join us. Now, for those of you who don't know, Ben is a expert, super grand master, Call of Cthulhu expert. He is a fan of all things horror and pulp horror and H.P. Lovecraft and you name it. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having a little bit of a round table. we're going to be virtual as we're kind of all around the world. But what we're going to be talking about is horror in RPGs, scariness, terror, gore in RPGs. We're going to be talking about how do you bring these elements into your game? How do you respect players' boundaries and their lines and their veils while still pushing them into that place of uncomfortableness that is kind of at the essence of horror. And then lastly, we're going to talk about systems, mechanics. We're going to talk about what game systems do it best, why they do it best, and are there ways or are there things that we can learn from those systems that we can take into our Dungeons & Dragons or our Pathfinder 2 game to maybe make them a little bit better at running horror or terror type games. So yeah, that's going to be tomorrow. Self-confessed cynic, tipping for himself. Ben A is a legend. Look forward to the chat. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously we love doing these very mechanical, kind of, tier ratings and tier rankings. But this is going to be more of a conversation. This is going to be more of a kind of like a TED talk, really, about how to improve your game skill or maybe even your player skill. Like, how do you make these kind of games work? And quite frankly, this is an area I'm going to be almost more of a moderator. I have not run a ton of horror games. I have not run a Call of Cthulhu game. I haven't even really played that much Call of Cthulhu. I may have only played it really once. So my expertise and knowledge here is myself. I'm going to be learning just like you. I'm going to be listening and I'm going to be paying attention. And I'm sure Vin and I are going to have some questions for Ben and maybe even push back on him on a couple of things. But for the most part, I think it's going to be a really, really good educational experience for everyone. And what a perfect time given the time of year, right? All right. Monk. Let's get back to the tier rankings. Thank you, by the way, for that self-conviction. Luigi says, yes, please. Awesome. All right, here we go. The monk needs strength 14, dex 14, just like the fighter. What the hell? Like, you don't have to be a strong monk. You don't have to be a dexterous monk, but dexterous monk. You get trained in unarmed attacks. Is there anything in the game that isn't trained in unarmed attacks? And you gain the powerful fist class feature. Great. So it's not non-lethal, and you can always wear a gauntlet. You get acrobatics or athletics. Okay. This is a very, 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 very weak dedication feat. So what do we get for paying the price for this pretty shitty dedication feat? We get access to monk feats. Of course, we get access to the monk resiliency, which is okay. We get this. So monk moves gives us a plus 10 foot status bonus to your speed when you're not in armor. Thank you, Luigi. I forgot that powerful fist does turn it into a D6. Thank you for that. So D6 and you don't get the -2. Cool. Good to know. D6 still not the best thing in the world, but you get flurry at 10. Boy, 10th level. 10th level. This is very reminiscent to me, of like the bard with the inspired competence. How do you only get this at 10? I mean, it's still very strong. I will agree. Power of Doi, as is tradition, fighter monk is kind of a better monk. You get Ghetto Longstrider, which he's talking about monk moves, flurry, and saves. Be boring but functional. So let's talk about monk moves. It's plus 10 status bonus. This is the same bonus that Longstrider gives you, but it lasts forever, ever, and you don't need to be able to have access to Longstrider, which means you don't need access to primal or arcane spells. And obviously you have to not be wearing armor. But for the most part, I think that's fine for a feat. Assuming you don't have any other way of accessing to Longstrider, which you might not. And, if it's coming off of a free archetype, it's especially worth it. 10 is a long time to wait. So, like, what are you getting here in the early levels? Now, there is something I like about Monk. It's the same thing that I like about Monk is the same thing that I really like about Fighter, both as a class and as an archetype. And that's that the Monk and the Fighter both do not have a subclass. There is no Racketeer Monk. There is no, Starlight Span Monk, Monk or Fighter. You just get feats. Everything is in your feats. So and this is kind of what I think Power Doy was talking about earlier, but like with the Bard, which is that once you pick up Flurry of Blows and once you pick up Powerful Fist, you kind of have everything that the monk would get anyways. So for the most part, everything that you get out of the monk is a feat. And through this, we get access to feats. So I actually think that that's probably a very strong thing to do. And lastly, we get our saving throw increase to master of any one of our choice. And again, normally this is canny acumen. We've seen this, but only for perception. This is the first time we've seen it for saves. Oh, maybe we saw one that lets you take your fort to master, but this one lets you pick one and you can make it master, and you get to do that at 12 instead of 18. Boy, I think this is really great. I think this is really solid. And monks, like fighters, I think get great feats as well. You get feats, amazing feats, build your own Street Fighter character, easy B. How does the monk's spells DCs advance when you take focus spells? Could you potentially triple class out of it? Yeah, no, you just become trained in the monk's class DC. You never get expert. Your monk DCs are going to be pretty bad, but I think this is a solid B for me. I think it's fun. I think you get most of what I think being a monk is. There's even the possibility that, like we said, a fighter monk is maybe even a better monk. You get a lot of the cool feats. And again, because all of the monk's abilities, like their stances and stuff, are locked in defeats, you get access to those. Teleports, yeah, Key Strike doesn't use DC. All very, and they're all through feats. That's very, very cool. I like that a lot. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Is monk A? No, maybe not. That dedication feat sucks though, right? You don't get, like, compared to some of the other things, that dedication feat's pretty rough. All right, Oracle. I have no idea what to expect. Right, Lance. Monk is an A because Wrestler's an A. Okay, I'll buy that. Base monk with a caster archetype was fun. Yeah, Lance played at the final in our Darker Winter campaign. He played a monk with every caster archetype, I think, so that he could. I think he could cast every single tradition of Magic. All right, Oracle dedication. It's charisma based. Well, at least there's that. And of course, you get a mystery. You get the mild effects of the. I think those are just like the flavor. You get the flavor effects of the mystery. You cast spells like an oracle, either common divine cantrips or other cantrips you discover. You get divine, you get divine. So, what else do you get here? You get all your spell casting things. Yep. And the only other thing that you get that's different from a cleric is you get your revelation. You gain your mystery's initial revelation spell. Costing this progresses your curse, and use the minor curse from your mystery, but when you progress it again, instead of your mystery's moderate curse effect, you become flat-footed. I mean, that's actually kind of better. If you don't have one, you get a focus spell of 1, and you can refocus. And you get that at 4. So, Red says Oracle should go into flavor category. No, I don't think so, but I don't know. It's probably better than the Cleric, honestly. Yeah, I think it's better than the Cleric, actually. I really do. Power Toy. I'm probably going to be the minority, but Oracle focus spells let you do some tricky stuff, like Lizard / Ifrit, Flame Oracle, Incendiary Auras, Hazardous Difficult Terrain, and Spontaneous Heals. You got me on there. Granted, I mean, here's the thing though. Like when some people make these builds, I go, "Are your GMs really letting you make these characters?" The most Isley Galarian builds are just so ridiculous and so crazy. Yeah, I mean, I agree with I agree with Self-Confessed Cynic. I think it's better than the Cleric. The Cleric was a D. I'm okay with the Oracle at C. I don't have a whole lot to say there. Psychic, boy, I need to do a game on our Discord where we just play with a bunch of psychics and thaumaturges, just so I can see these classes, popping out, because I don't have any experience yet with the psychic. I just don't, and I'd love to. Okay, wow, we're getting a lot of high-level powers here. Okay, wow. Self-Confessed Cynic says, I have no fucking idea what to expect from Psychic. But JG says A or S. Power of Doi says easy S. Levy says Psychic is an easy S. S. All right, well, let's take a look. Let's dig in, people. Wow, I'm excited. What's going on here? Okay, again, you need Int or Charisma. I already like that. You become trained in Occultism. You become trained in a skill of your choice. You cast spells like a Psychic. You gain the cast of spell activity. As you don't have a subconscious mind, your thought components are simple intentions. You choose your conscious mind, and you gain a spell repertoire with one standard psi cantrip of your choice from your conscious mind, which you cast as a psionic cantrip. You gain the normal benefits and the amp for this cantrip, but not any of the benefits. If you don't have one, you gain a focus pool of one focus point, which you can use to amp your psi cantrips, and you can refocus. If you already have a focus pool, increase the number of points by 1? Holy shit. For your dedication? Wow. Holy shit. Also, I love that you get a psych. You like end up with almost as many. You almost end up with as many spells as a psychic does, and then you get this psi development at level 6. You gain another psi cantrip from your psychic mind, and you increase the number of focus points in your pool by 1. Holy shit! Wow. Well, that's really powerful. Vin, there's a rule that says you gain focus pool feats, stack focus points only if they come from different sources. That was the original rule. So if you gained a focus point from something, and then you gained a focus point from the same source, it won't cause you to stack. That's why taking 2 domain feats as a cleric doesn't give you 2 focus points. So yeah, wow. Focus point and a psi cantrip that you can amp. So essentially kind of a focus spell for the dedication feat. Then you get full occult casting, and then you get another +1 focus point and another psychic cantrip. Wow, this is really great. Yeah, this is definitely, you guys were right. This is S tier. I'm very, very much on the S tier chain here. This is too good. I mean, compared to the other classes in the game, what the hell are we even talking about here? Yeah, no. It's always going to be a 3 focus point cap. But, I mean, do you realize that, a sorcerer who starts with a focus pool already, and then at level 2, they take psychic dedication, and if you already have a focus pool, increase the number of points by 1. So now you're already at 2 focus points at level 2, and then at level 6, you're at 3 focus points. That's pretty good. I mean, you can't refocus on them and get them all back, but it's still pretty dang good. Wow. That's probably way too good. Hide your kids, hide your wife. Wow. That's crazy. All right, let me just take a quick break here. I'm gonna make a poll. So what are your guys's what are our thoughts? Thoughts on the ratings so far, right? All right, let me ask the community here because we got, what do we got here? We got 75 people in the chat today. So let me know what you guys are thinking. How you feeling so far? We're coming up on the end of the multi-class here. We got 1, 2, 3. We got a little less than half to go. And just make sure that we'll just do a temper check. The rating so far is C tier, yeah. Ooh, Sorcerer Champ Psychic. Oh my god. Wow, you'd have 3. Maybe you couldn't make it happen. Well, if you use some class feats, I don't know. Maybe could you have like 3 land hands by level 6? Maybe if you use class feats, maybe you could do it. That would be sick. I'm gonna let a couple of you vote. I'm just sorry. I'm just drinking something in my throat. Yeah, I'm assuming buy 6 with free archetype Vin. That's what I'm assuming. That would be pretty crazy. Let's see. You could at 2. You could take the psychic dedication, and you could take the psychic. I don't know. Maybe you couldn't. Maybe you'd have to be 8 because there's like no, because you get land hands. I don't know. I'd have to figure it out. All right, 5% of you are saying way off. That must be Mr. Damian Williams. 55% of you are saying pretty close. 41% of you are saying it's accurate. Yes, the Druidic language alone is worth the S tier classification. All right, I feel like we're gonna be disappointed with the Ranger here, people. All right, the Ranger only needs Dex. You could be a melee Ranger and need Strength, but somehow the fighter needs Strength and Dex, but the Ranger only needs Dex. What the hell? You become trained in survival. You can use Hunt Prey. You get a +2 bonus to perception checks to seek, and +2 circumstance bonus to track. That's it. Oh, and of course you ignore the penalty for range attacks, not for the first range increment, but for the second range increment. Oh, it's within your second range. Yeah, so you, if that monster is 120 feet away, you don't get the -2 penalty. This is horrible. This is horrible. We get our feet. We get our feet. We get our resiliency. We don't gain edge. You don't gain an edge? You can't gain an edge? Holy crap, you can't gain an edge. Wow. Wow. F. That's horrible. Yeah, but Levy, we've seen several other classes already that can give us Master Perception. Oh, that's bad. Luigi, I agree. You got to come up with something, though. You got to give the Ranger something. There's nothing here. Exactly. How is this even an archetype? This may be worse than the Magus. I don't disagree with JG. Yeah, because a lot of the monster, by the way, a lot of the Ranger's feats require you to have an edge. So you can't even take them. Oh, man. Yeah, probably. Probably Archosaurian. Wow, what a disappointment there. I was not expecting that. Austin, Ranger itself can give other people its edge, but you don't gain it for the archetype. That's really funny, actually. Let's take a look. Come on, Archives. Oh, maybe there's not as many that you need an edge for as I thought. All right, you can take the feats. I thought there was at least a couple. I mean, there's a couple that you can't take, but these feats are nowhere near as good, right? Like Hunted Shot, when you don't have Flurry, is not good. Like in my personal opinion. Especially considering I had to spend an action to do it. Yeah, I agree, Rain Hunter. But the fighter's feats are way better. And you get attack of opportunity at 4. Yeah, but you can only find people that you've already found. You have to be able to see or hear the prey in order to be able to seek it better. What the hell does that even mean? Well, if I could see and hear my prey, then I don't need to seek it because I know where it is. And if I'm already tracking it, then I don't need a bonus to track it because I'm already tracking it. Anyways, disappointing. F for disappointing. All right, Big Daddy Rogue, one of our S tier classes from our original tier list. What do we get? Rogue Dedication only needs dex. You get train in light armor, which is a nice little bump up for your cloth casters. For your spellcasters. You get stealth or thievery and 1 skill of your choice. That's cool. So not a lot. You're not gaining something crazy like the psychic, but I like that you get training in armor. That's really good for a spellcaster. Get that little bit of bump of AC, like a 1 point bump of AC at low level. It's pretty good. You get access to rogue feats, which are pretty good. And we could take this skill mastery and we could take it up to 5 times, increasing a skill from expert to master and a skill from trained to expert, and we gain a skill feat. We saw this before with the Investigator, but they could take this 5 times. We get Uncanny Dodge, the class feature. We just get it. We get Deny Advantage, same as a Barbarian, same as a Rogue. Sure, we don't get it at level 2 or 4, but it's literally the class feature. Compare that to the Ranger, where we got none of the class features. We could take our Reflex to Master, not as good as the Monks, which could take any skill to Master. Skill Mastery is up to 5 times on the Investigator as well. Good, thanks, Rain Hunter. Well, Investigator's already S tier Rain Hunter, so we can't make it better. And we get Sneak Attacker. Now, you don't increase the number of dice as you gain levels. This feels really, really, really good to me. It does not feel busted. So, like, I agree with what Vin just said. Low-level rogue feats are pretty good. Very much like the fighter. Nimble Dodge is very good. Trap Finder can be really good. Twin Feint can be really good. So, I think a lot of these are very good feats. To me, I think the Rogue is a great example of, like, I think we can all agree that the champion is too good, right? I mean, it's just, you get too much there, and how many people do you see that take champion? It's like a lot. Like, it's so good for such a low price. I just love it. Archosaurian, I don't know if you watched all 100 hours of our spell list ranking, but I fundamentally hate the Organ Sight spell, and it's the exact kind of thing that makes me want to never play Pathfinder 2 again. Good evening, all the way from Brazil. Send good energy for Brazils to elect Lula. Well, I hope if that's a good thing for your country, you have my support. I understand that you've had a lot of political problems down there, so you definitely have our support. Good luck. You're still contending that Investigator is a mechanics archetype. All right, Rain Hunter, we'll maybe circle back to that. Yeah, I agree, JG. Better than the bees. Rogue, Investigator archetype, or Investigator Rogue archetype, you basically get all skills to mastery or legendary. Yeah, that's pretty good. I love it. This is what I want an archetype to be. I mean, I'm very happy with the Alchemist and the Bard and the Druid and stuff and the Monk, but this feels great. This feels very fun. You get this little bit of extra sneak attack. You get some of this weird little tricksy abilities. You're gonna feel like a rogue. I love that you get this and this. I think that's great. Very impressed. All right, Sorcerer. All right, so Sorcerer is going to follow, most of the standard model that we talked about. They're going to get a dedication. They're going to get some feats. They're going to get basic spellcasting, expert spellcasting, master spellcasting, and breath. The only thing that they get in addition to this is they can get. Oh, there we go. They get the Bloodline spell at level 4, and they get a focus point. Not +1 focus point. It's if you don't already have one, gain a focus point of 1 focus point. If this says anything, my OG Sorcerer was a Sorcerer Champ Rogue. So the Sorcerer is going to choose a Bloodline. That's going to give you access to basically any tradition. Depending on what bloodline you take, you obviously get all the benefits of casting a spell. You get sorcerer feats, but the sorcerer feats aren't as good. You get bloodline you get cross-blooded evolution at level 8. Is that right? Yeah. So you get that at level 16. But that's a little late in the game, don't we think? I think this is probably a B. Being able to choose things like Arcane and getting access to spontaneous true strikes, I think that's, for a martial character who wants to pick up some sorcerer's magical power. For example, in the Dark of Winter campaign, my human gnome dual flick mace wielder with a good charisma had champion. If you want to know what they had champion dedication for lay on hands and champion's reaction. They had dual weapon wielder, and then they had sorcerer all the way out. Although I took occult because I wanted to be able to cast True Strike and obviously things like that, magic missile, but I also wanted to have access to like heroism and synesthesia. So yes, they all eventually do get all 3 of their focus spells. So that's a good point. But yeah, I think B is a good point. I think B is a good place to put the Sorcerer. Sorcerer archetype sounds a lot like the Sorcerer, but more balanced. Yeah, that's probably a fair assumption. That's probably a fair assessment, Red. All right, Summoner, another one. I'm not going to lie, folks. I don't know anyone about this, so I'm going to need your help. We're going to try to do this together. I don't want to miss anything. I want to get this right, and I need your help to do it. Because this one's probably one of those ones that's really complicated, and I feel like it's going to be horrible as a result. Okay. My God. Well, already, you gain an Eidolon, but it says you do not get tandem actions, and you don't get act together. Wow. That is horrible. Also, we know, like the Magus, I'm going to assume that they don't get basic expert master spellcasting. They get basic, master, expert, bounded spell casting, which is absolutely horrible. I'm gonna say F. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take Summoner down to F, but I want to put Magus and Summoner like below the Ranger. I still think the Ranger deserves an F because like you literally don't get any class features of the Ranger except for Hunt Prey, but like none of the cool edges. Like the only thing you get is a +2 bonus, but like, boy, that sucks. So it says PowerDoy says they are running AV for a Bard Summoner dedication. Apparently the Mini-Don, I like that term, is about the same DPR as EE plus it can grapple. At least the C. I don't know what the CC is. Or sorry, I don't know what EE is. I don't know, Power of Doi. I'm sus there. I'm a little bit suspicious there. Oh, okay. Power of Doi says got it. I got it. Electric Arc. I don't know. I don't like to base things off of one build. I also agree with Sylvan. And you know what? I'm actually going to move Investigator from S flavor to A or B. Because you know what? If you could take that skill mastery 5 times, I respect that. And you know what? The Investigator actually gets some Investigator class functions. They get Clue In. They get Devise a Stratagem. I respect that. I'm actually giving it. How about that? I don't think it's as good as the Rogue. But skill mastery 5 times is nice. I agree, self-confessed cynic. Respected it at B. All right, I agree. It's out of the flavor column. We're back to all multi-classes are on, the thing. I think pointing out that skill mastery is 5 times on the Investigator really had me feeling like, okay, we need to make a switch here. All right, we've only got 4 left. We can do this. Swashbuckler. Right, but Damien, I respect the fact that your class's feats are kind of a discretionary thing, anyways. Even if you're not playing with free archetype, we've argued before. Do you even really need feats to really function? Like, I think picking those up can give you a lot of skill power, and I think that's cool. Regardless of your campaign, skill mastery is still going to be really good. Swashbuckler dedication. You need charisma and dexterity. You get a swashbuckler style. You gain the panache class feature, and you can gain panache in all the ways a swashbuckler of your style can. You get acrobatics and a skill. And you don't get any other effects of your chosen style. So by having the panache class feature, we get a +5 foot bonus to our speed and a +1 circumstance bonus to tumble checks, or to tumble through, or to take any actions that give you panache due to your style. Now, we do not gain precise strike, and we do not gain confident finisher, but at the very least, we do at least get the ability to gain panache and get a 5 foot status bonus and a +1 circumstance bonus. Fist of Flowers proved you don't need anything. Very true. Also, very true.
Dungeons and Dragons. Satan's game.
All very true. Quark, it is not assuming free archetype. It is assuming, because if your whole group is using free archetype, then you get 10 extra feats to spend on things. If your group is not using free archetype, it's still your class's resources. That being said, if you are using free archetype, I would almost say choose whatever you want. Choose whatever's cool for your character, because you don't need free archetype feats to make your character function. If your character is in a Pathfinder 2 game and you are a solid class like a fighter or a barbarian or a monk or a rogue or a sorcerer, it doesn't matter what your free archetype is going to be. Like, it could be one of these really busted, broken ones, or it could be one that's really fun and flavorful. It's not going to meaningfully change the game, and that's what makes them so fun, I think. I raged when we were playing Fistful of Flowers. I raged a couple times. So with one archetype feat, you can get +1 circumstance bonus to all athletics or demoralize action. Easy B, already ignoring anything else. Yeah, I mean, I like that you get panache. You get feats. Okay, at 4, you get finishing precision. Okay. You gain the precise strike class feature, but it's only 1 additional damage on a hit and 1d6 on a finisher. And this damage does not increase. In addition, you get the basic finisher action. For 1 action, you make a deadly attack, make a strike. If you hit and your weapon qualities qualify for precise strike, you deal the full 1d6 damage from precise strike. Oh yeah, Sage. I think Orchid Sight's just one of those weird, like, we like weird Victorian horror terror. I don't know. It's just one of those weird Pathfinder 2 spells. Yeah, this is very similar to the Rogue Sneak Attack, but it's a little bit harder, right? Because you have to have Panache, Rain Hunter. It's a lot easier to sneak attack than to have Panache most of the time. Ooh, you get the Swashbuckler's Riposte. They critically fail a strike. You can get the critical attack back or disarm, which you will never do. You can up your speed bonus to +10. And you can get a reflex to master. Wow, this is pretty good. I think this is decent. I don't know. I think it's better than C. I don't know. I kind of like it. I don't think it's an A, but you know, I don't know. I kind of like it. Let me see. What about the Swash? I don't think it's an A, but I could see it being a B. I think it's a little bit better than that. I mean, again, you're picking up some cool class features here. I love these level 12 boosts to master on these things. It's a lot of fun and it's very mechanically rewarding. It's a great way to shore up a weakness in your character. Fighters, for example, do not get master reflex saves. So that's nice to be able to pick that up at 12. A little bit of a speed bonus. I know you can get it through Longstrider, and this only works when you have Panache. I get it, but you know, we can't all be casters. I love Opportune Riposte at 6. It's a great little reaction. You know, if the person's sitting there in melee with you, trading with you. Plus, a lot of times GMs love to go for that -10 map because they figure, what's the point? Well, it's just Hail Mary. Well, those are the ones that a lot of times can end up critically missing, and you can maybe get a free attack out of it. That's pretty good. I like it. All right. 65% of you are coming in at B. So I am inclined to agree with you. The B for Swash. I love that reaction too, Anthony, actually. Actually, Anthony, when I first started getting into Pathfinder 2, I didn't like that critical misses were like the one thing in the game, from an attack roll, were like the one thing in the game where a failure and a critical failure had the exact same effect. And originally I was like, oh, well, maybe if someone critically fails, they can use it, triggers a reaction, and the person that you critically failed your attack against can make a free strike against you. But then I realized, oh, there's some classes in the game that actually get that as a power or as a feat. Okay. Overwhelmingly, you all said B, so we're going to go with B. All right. We are going to be wrapping up here, folks. I actually just like that reaction since almost everyone forgets it. I mean, if I had it, I'd certainly try to remind it. Yeah, I mean, that is true. It doesn't come up a lot. Well, it depends, self-confessed cynic. I think if you're fighting against more creatures that are your level or lower, you're going to see that come up a lot more often. If you're always fighting against PL +2, PL +2, plus a PL +3, extreme plus encounter, then yes, I agree. You're not going to see that come up too often. But if you were fighting against a bunch of PL -1s in a moderate or severe encounter, those creatures might critically miss you on a 1, 2, 3, even with their initial roll. And if they do make a second attack against you, they might be critically missing on like, a 1 through 6 or something, or like a 2 through 6. +2, +2, +3 sounds like I'm playing Pathfinder. Yeah, I agree, Power. Yeah, Power, we're going to do the Witch and the Wizard. Let's do the Thaumaturge. No, I just wanted to say real quick, we're going to be wrapping up here over these next 3 ones. So we're going to stick it out here for at least another 10 or 15 minutes to get these done. But I want to say thank you for hanging out with me tonight. If you appreciate it and you enjoyed this conversation, definitely subscribe, like, so that you can be notified when we do our future streams of this as we finish up this archetype list. And also you can see some of the other really, really cool and amazing and fun, adventure videos that we're making and that we are producing. And maybe consider supporting the channel. Your tips and donations are always appreciated, but we'd love to see you join our Patreon. Come hang out with us, talk about RPGs. We've got a really active American zone, North American zone, as well as a strong EU and even an Oceania contingent is sort of building up. So we have people all over the place, and I think you'll really, really appreciate it. Come join, even if only for a month, see if you like it, and then maybe decide to stick around. I think you're gonna like it. All right, Thaumaturge, new one. Here we go. This might be good. Only needs a Charisma 14. We like that. You get to choose an implement. You can use it to glimpse vulnerability, but you don't gain its benefits. You gain a few esoterica, allowing you to use esoterica actions. You become trained in your choice of either arcana, nature, occultism, or religion. Hey! Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Thank you, Quark. Thank you, sir. You are a real friend. Thank you. We gain glimpse vulnerability. You glimpse a hidden target and then strengthen it to aid you. Select a creature you can see. Until you glimpse vulnerability, that target gains weakness 2 against your unarmed and weapon strikes. Okay, it's not great. But what else do we get? We get our feats. We get our initiate benefit at 6. I like that. That's pretty good. We get sort of skill mastery, but it's only in arcana, nature, occultism, or religion. We get master will saves. I like that. And then we get our feats. And as I recall, the Thaumaturge feats are pretty good. Like, they're really good. Like, Scroll Thaumaturgy is really good. Some of these are really, really quite good. So, boy. Rain Hunter says Thaumaturge is at least an A. All Scrolls is a level 1 class feat. Another S, probably. They overcompensated for the Secrets of Magic dedication. Mira's an S. I'm going to say this. I don't think it's an S. I think this is just really, really, I don't know, maybe it is S. I think this is just really strong and fun. My temptation here is to put it at A. I don't think it's actually busted, is it? I mean, like, the mirror, we're talking about the mirror. The scroll feat is obviously S. I mean, the scroll feat is really, really good, right? I mean, it basically just lets you access, there it is. Yeah, of any tradition. Gosh, damn, that's so good. And it uses your class DC. God damn. Oh, man, that's so good. Wow, that's so good. Man, it's crazy that things like this exist in the game. Like, compared to, I don't know, 75% of the other feats in the game. I mean, Rain Hunter, boy. I'm sorry. Thaumaturge is just so good. Just the class. Like, the fact that the class gets that is insane. Yeah, you can use your class DC for your magic item instead of the items DC. That is so good, too. All right. Thaumaturge is an S. I didn't want to do it, but it probably is too good. A lot of fun. And I like that you gain... I like that at level 6 you get the... I like that you get the initiate benefit. And... I mean, I think that's really great. I mean, that's a lot of fun. Ugh, good class. All right, last two. The Witch and the Wizard. So we got the Witch, we got the Wizard. All right, so here's our Witch. Remember, we know that the Witch is going to be a spellcaster like everybody else. You're going to choose your patron. That's going to choose what tradition you get. Remember, they're a prepared caster, but they, unlike the Druid and Cleric who get everything, they has to come out of your cat. So you got to write the spells into your cat. You get basic spell casting. You get expert. You get breath. You get master. You get witch feats. You do not gain anything else. Now the good news, if I recall correctly, you get a lot of familiar feats, but you're not going to gain. Not really going to gain any of the... you're not going to gain any of this. I mean, they do have some focus spells. They're hex stuff. You get Cackle. That's a feat. Cackle's good. The lessons are all feats. Lessons aren't horrible. You get a hex... and you get a spell. Then you get a lot of crap about familiars. Steady spell casting is one of the worst feats in the game, but I mean, everybody gets that. A lot more about familiars. A lot more about familiars. And then you do get quicken casting at 10. So to level 20, you can pick it up. Yeah, I don't think the Witch is particularly strong. But, you know, it's... depending on your patron, you know. I guess my thought here is it doesn't feel as good as the Bard. It doesn't feel as good as the Druid. So I think it belongs at C. And I do agree it's better than the Cleric. Mainly Life Boost and Elemental Vengeance for focus spells. I know Life Boost. I don't know Elemental Vengeance. So I can't speak on that one. But I think that's pretty good. You do not gain the patron hexes. Okay. Thank you, Power Doy. But you would if you took you would if you took the feat that gives you it, but you do not get the base hexes. Got it, yeah. All right. In that case, I'll just say C. And that brings us to the Wizard. The good old Wizard. So they, I'm thinking, are going to be super arcane, and they're in a book. So they're a prepared caster, and they have a limited spell list. Yeah, you get the lessons hexes, but not the good ones, like Clinging Eye and Evil Eye. Fair enough. And then you get a bunch of spells, or a bunch of expansions, and nothing else. Yeah, I feel like the Wizard is exactly the same as a Witch. Yeah, I agree. Very similar in this regard, because you don't get any of the thing. I'm actually pretty down on that. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we can argue the semantics of this, but I think fundamentally they're kind of the same exact dedication for sure. All right. Well, school spells are quite good actually. Which better? Wizard is only arcane and no hex. Well, yeah, but being arcane is probably a good thing. An aura that doesn't let frighten go under 1. True strike for skills. They're okay. Kineticist playtest. No, we'll pass on that one. Okay, so what do we got here? Well, we got a very interesting distribution. I mean, that's definitely for sure. Looks very different from the way that we built some of our class tier lists. People like Champion are at the top. You know, classes like a Fighter are at C. But I think we can all agree that this is pretty reasonable. And I will say this: they didn't know how to handle, more S than A, and that to me, Lollipop tells me that they had a hard time building these things. And I think we can see that with the Secret of Magic classes, Magus and Summoner. They just dropped the ball. They just did not know how to build it at all. They probably gave the Thaumaturge too much and the Psychic too much. So it's like Magus and Summoner, they're like, oops, and then Psychic and Thaumaturge, they were like, here, have everything, and they were like, oh, okay. But I like that. I like that so many of them are solid B and C. The Cleric struggles just because it's a boring class. Period. It doesn't have exciting feats, and so many of them are linked into one type of ability. Barbarian's just disappointing because it's just such a small amount of damage increase. You never get your higher level instincts. You never get your damage reduction. And the Barbarian feats, quite frankly, aren't that impressive. So Ranger, I don't know what happened. I know we put it at F, but it's like, it just felt so weird to me that the only thing you got is hunt prey, and it doesn't do anything except for +2 bonus to spot or seek and track, and then that's it. So yeah. Red says, I like the bell curve that keeps somehow happening. Yeah, this one's a little wonky. But if we, it's kind of like it kind of peaks at the tips because we've got 3 S's and 3 F's, but then we have 2 D's and we have 1 A, but it's only off by 1. And then, a pretty solid hump in the middle. But I mean, that is regression to the mean. And as long as you are doing a relatively unbiased sampling, you should kind of end up with a distribution that resembles a normal Gaussian distribution. So there we go. That is our initial 22 multi-class archetype feats. And of course, now next time we are going to get into acrobat and duelists and agents and alter egos and yada 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 yada. So definitely thank you all for hanging out tonight. Be prepared. We're probably going to do a couple more of these throughout the rest of November to sort of wrap this up for archetypes and kind of end it. And then probably end of the year, December time frame. I'm probably just going to do whatever the hell I want. I'm probably going to just do streams about games that I'm passionate about and I want to just talk about and have fun with. Crazy, weird games that no one's ever heard of or played before because, YouTube hates them, but, maybe you should watch anyways. Are we done with the tower building streams? Well, the tower isn't done yet, Rain Hunter, but I don't know if I'm going to have time to run another one of those because I need to build it and I can't always just do it on a live stream. So I don't know, maybe it's something we could do. I could come back and talk about it. I don't know. I like those. Those are fun. But to be honest with you, Rain Hunter, those streams haven't done particularly well. So, yeah. Make a random table and roll one for each stream in December. Thank you everybody for hanging out tonight, and we will see you tomorrow for our special holiday horror special. And again, remember, we're going to be live in the middle of the afternoon. I'm going to make a post about it on our YouTube channel. I'm going to make a post about it on Patreon so that you don't know. So take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow, where we're going to be talking about horror and terror and gore, role-playing games, and you. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Knights, last call.